Thanks for joining me today for the Friday freebie. It's about 9:58, so a couple of minutes. I'll give some time for people to log in and get online. Hope you've had a good week and have some interesting plans for the weekend. If you are one of those people who actually gets to separate weekdays from weekends. Some people don't. As when I was an active realtor, weekends meant absolutely nothing to me, except I was usually working. You can say something in the chat box if you've already joined me, just to let me know you're here. Hi. Thanks for joining me. So I wanted to ask if you guys are experiencing this, but have you started to experience, good morning, have you started to experience life really starting to speed back up again? You remember how life slowed down to a complete crawl last year around this time? And a couple of months ago, I started noticing how much traffic there was again. But just everything seems to have sped up. And in speeding up, what I think might just happen to people is you might start to replace one kind of anxiety that, the COVID anxiety, the political anxiety, with just the anxiety that comes with rushing again. Of course, the whole experience of COVID was awful for most people in one way or another, some much more than others. But the one thing that some of us, and I consider those of us who were able to experience this quite privileged, we were able to really consciously allow ourselves to slow down a lot. And to the point, of course, some people slowed down so much they felt bored, but they didn't even realize that the reason they were bored was because they had not figured out how to fill this extra time that they had. And then there are the people who have to homeschool kids and work from home. They probably didn't get to slow down much at all, but many of us did. So today I just want to focus on what it feels like to stay slowed down, or to be able to slow yourself back down if you recognize that you're kind of speeding up, mentally speeding up, maybe even physically speeding up, but a lot of it's mental. How to really recognize that and decide that you're going to, you're going to take control and you're just going to slow things down again. So let's go ahead and go to the mat. Lie down on your back. Have your arms at your sides. And so let's just take a moment to feel our bodies lying on the floor, being still. And think for a moment, other than when you go to bed at night, how often are you actually still, mentally and physically? A lot of times we can be physically still and mentally still revved up and speeding up. So in order to slow ourselves mentally down, where do we go? We go to the breath. So go ahead now and start to take some nice, deep breaths. Really feeling how your entire torso fills with your inhalation. And then feel the torso kind of contract back down as you exhalate. Exhale, sorry. Exhalate. Can you feel the breath entering your belly, the midline of your body, all the way up to your upper chest as you inhale, and then releasing that exhalation back down from the chest down to the belly? So you can think of blowing up a balloon, and you know, when you blow into a balloon, the balloon fills from the bottom up to the top. But when you let the air out of the balloon, it goes from the top back down to the bottom. So that's how your breath should be. Inhaling from the belly up to the chest and exhaling from the chest back down to the belly. With an understanding that these slow breaths really do have a physiological impact on you. They slow everything down, including your mind. So go ahead now and clasp your right knee, stretch your left leg out and flex the foot, and imagine you're pushing your left foot away from your body as you pull your right knee directly over your chest. And then take those deep breaths. If you're taking really deep breaths, you can actually, as you inhale, feel your knee kind of pressing away from your torso, and as you exhale, it comes back in towards your torso, just using the power of your breath. Finish your next exhalation completely. Release your right leg, and let's pull in the left knee. Stretch the right leg out, flex the foot, and press through the foot as if you're pushing it away from your body. But pull that left knee directly in over your chest. And take those deep breaths. Finish your next exhalation completely and go ahead and release your left knee. Now go ahead now and take your arms overhead and then move your torso and your arms and your head around to the right, to the left as far as you can. So just keep going until you can't go any farther, but make sure your right shoulder is still on the floor. And then move your legs around to the left. So you're going to feel a stretch up along the whole right side of your body. And now take those same deep breaths. Feel the ribs on the right side of your body expand. Feel them actually open up as you inhale and then contract, moving back together as you exhale. Finish your next exhalation. Move your body back to center. And now move your torso, your arms, your torso, and your head around to the right as far as you can. Now you may not go as far or you may go further because you might be a little less flexible on one side. Then move the legs as far around to the right as you can. So the stretch, of course, now is on the left side. So inhaling and exhaling. Finish your next exhalation completely, and then come on back to center. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and either roll over onto your side or pull your knees in and rock yourself up to seated. And then when you come up to seated, if you've got a pillow or a blanket to set your hips up on. So just, I know some of you are with me every week and some of you aren't, so I just like to reiterate certain things. Why am I sitting slightly elevated on a blanket? Because it helps me to keep my posture really straight. If you've got really tight muscles around this area, so coming from your low back, and you try to sit cross-legged, you might be sitting like this. Okay, so by slightly elevating, and some of you may need to elevate more than slightly. You might need 2 blankets or 2 pillows. What you're trying to do is get the hips and the knees relatively in line. So that's the reason. Now I can sit very straight without sitting on something, but I still most of the time typically just slightly elevate my hips with my blanket. Lengthen the spine up. Relax your shoulders. Good. Okay, so you're going to take your left hand, so we're going in opposite directions, to your right knee, and then you're going to take your right hand behind your back. Don't turn your torso, so you're not twisting yet. Press your fingertips of the right hand into the floor and really lengthen your torso. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, and as you inhale, take a twist, but try to keep that twist from the waist. So you're not necessarily turning your head over your right shoulder. You're going to keep the head and neck in line and feel the twist at the waist. And then just gently and slightly pull that left shoulder back away from your chest to open up the heart, and just breathe. Every time you inhale, feel yourself go a little bit deeper into the twist. Rather, exhale. So inhale, lengthen, exhale, feel the twist go a little bit deeper. Finish your next exhalation completely and go ahead and come back to center. Taking the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the back. Press the left hand into the floor to lengthen the spine. Inhale, exhale, and take that twist. Remember, you're not going to turn your head over your shoulder. You're going to keep your head and neck in line with the spine and slightly press the right shoulder away from your chest. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen the twist. Finish your next exhalation, come back to center. So, yoga can have a lot of really complicated poses, but I almost always start my practice with a lot of pretty simple moves for the sole purpose of, first of all, feeling how my body actually feels, and second of all, to really get my body, if I'm going to do a longer practice with more complicated poses, to get myself really kind of loosened up and opened up. Let's take your left hand out to the side. Now, depending on your flexibility, you can maybe have your fingertips, your whole palm of your hand, or your whole forearm, whichever works for you. Take your right hand to your waist. Roll your torso around so it's facing forward, so you're not hunched this way. You want to be this way. And then take that right hand overhead. And stretch those right fingertips as if you're trying to touch whatever the opposite wall is. Turning to kind of look up towards the ceiling. And just breathe into that right side. Nice deep breaths. When you finish your next exhalation, inhale to come back up. And exhale. Now you're going to take your, I'm kind of not in the middle of my mat, am I? Take your right hand out, and again, depending on your flexibility, fingertips, palm, whole forearm. Left hand goes to the waist, open up that torso, and then take the left arm overhead. Feel what's different from one side to the other. This is a tougher side for me. I'm not quite as flexible on this side. So it takes a little bit longer for my body to settle into this stretch. Finish your next exhalation. Inhale to come up. Good. Let's do some neck rolls. And so I want these to be nice and slow. So one neck roll should be one complete breath. So inhale and then just nice and slow, so that by the time you finish your exhale, you're back up again. You can go in either direction. I happen to be going to the right. Giving you a chance to feel what is going on in your neck. The next time you come back up to center, go ahead and go in the other direction. And the next time you come back up to center, just come back to center. So what did you feel in your neck? I mean, I've already done this once today because I did that in my own practice this morning. So my neck is a little more loosened up, but when I did it this morning, I hadn't done neck rolls in a while. And man, I heard all kinds of snap, crackle, and pops going on in my neck. Okay, so let's do some shoulder shrugs. Take the shoulders up towards your ears, back, down, and forward. Up, back, down, and forward, nice and slow. Good, and the next time you finish that direction, let's go the opposite direction. So now you're going to go back, up, forward, and down. Back, up, forward, and down. Still taking nice slow breaths. And then relaxing as you come back down. Clasp your hands behind your back. Sit up nice and tall and lift your arms as far behind your back as you can. So this will tell you how tight your shoulders are. Inhale, exhale, and let yourself just come as far forward as you can. Wherever that is fine. Relax the back of your neck and just breathe. And after your next exhalation, come all the way back up. Okay, come onto your knees. So I mentioned this last week that whenever we're trying to calm ourselves down or to just kind of release anxiety, the best yoga poses to do that is going to be poses that keep you close to the ground. Okay, so standing poses are more energetic, and so if your goal is to try to really tune into anxiety or tension, you want to stay kind of close to the ground, grounded basically. So come into table pose, all fours, making sure that your shoulders are over your wrists, so the shoulders aren't back like this, your elbows aren't bent, so your arms are straight, and your shoulders aren't forward of your wrists. They're just right directly over your wrist. Knees and feet are hip width apart, and your knees are directly underneath your hips. So we'll just do cat, tuck, and arch. So as you inhale, lift your sit bones, let your heart drop towards the floor and lift your head. Exhale, round the tailbone down, arch the back up, and drop the head. So back and forth, nice and slow with your breath. next exhalation, just come back to center. Go ahead and come down onto the mat, onto your belly. And oops, I'll move this block out of the way so you can see my hands. So we've done this one before. We're going to take a little back bend, but in this one I actually don't want you to try to go up very high, even if you think your back is real flexible. So take your index fingers, put them on the edge of your mat. Your thumbs are facing forward, so your index fingers and your index fingers and thumbs are on the mat, but your third, fourth, and fifth finger of both hands are either on your floor or your carpet. Take your feet as wide as your mat, so not in like this, but all the way out like this, and roll around a little bit on your pubic bone. Feel your buttocks nice and relaxed, so you're not tensing. I don't know if you can see this, but you're not doing this. You're really relaxed, okay? And then all I want you to do, and I don't want you to go any higher, however, if you lift your forearms and that's a little bit too high for your back flexibility, you can move your hands forward. So I'll show you. So everybody just inhale and lift the forearms. Now, even if you know your back is stronger than this and you can go higher, don't do that. Just stay here. But if this is too high for you, don't put your forearms back down. Just slide your hands out until you come to wherever is comfortable for your back. And now I just want you to breathe. Gently squeeze your shoulders back so your shoulders aren't hunched or rounding forward. You want to squeeze the shoulders back. Remember to keep the buttocks relaxed and just breathe. This should be very comfortable. If you're straining at all, you're too high, just move your hands forward. If this feels easy for you, that's good. Don't go up any higher. Just want you to relax in this position. Nice deep breath. Finish your next exhalation and then push yourself back into child's pose. Now, if child's pose is not comfortable for you with your knees close together, you can always widen them out like this. Okay? So it's up to you. Relax the back of your neck, so don't hold your head up. Just let everything relax. Finish your next exhalation and come on back up to seated. And take your legs wide. Okay, so I don't want you to flex your feet. I want you to just kind of let the feet hang. But if your feet tend to drop way over like this, try not to do that. Try to at least keep the feet pretty much straight up, but not flexing the muscles of your feet and legs or anything. Just as much as possible, keep them kind of up, just not all the way like this. Some of us open way up like this. So right about here. Okay, so all we're going to do is start to, from the waist, I want you to just fold forward. Now you may not go very far. Don't worry about that if you don't go very far. Just come to whatever is your maximum for your body. Relax your head. Relax your shoulders. So in this one you don't have to flex anything. Just let your shoulders round and just breathe. Take those nice deep breaths. Don't try to force yourself to go any deeper. Just let your body guide where it is willing and able to go today. Just focus on your breath. Those nice deep breaths that we began with. Finish your next exhalation completely and push yourself back up. Now just think for a minute. This is just a thought for yourself. Think, were you efforting at all? Were you trying? Was your mind telling you to go farther? Because of course you can see that I can go pretty deep. You know, the mind will just take over if we allow it. And the mind is often the stress of most of our, you know, anxiety. So if you caught yourself, you know, if you caught your mind telling you to try to force yourself to go deeper, or if you found your mind kind of criticizing you for not being able to go deeper, just make a note of that. Just be aware that that happened. Because if we're aware of it, then we actually know how to stop it when it happens. Okay, turn your torso over your right leg, okay? And we're going to kind of do the same thing, except this time we're just going to come as far down over the right leg as we can. So when you're ready, just start to let yourself fold down. Again, you might not go very far at all, but when you get to your maximum, be very, very comfortable with where you are. And if you catch your mind trying to make you go deeper or force you to go deeper or criticizing you for not going deep enough, just be aware of it and go back to breathing. Finish your next exhalation. Coming back up. Let's turn to go over the left leg. So when you're ready, one hand on either side of the leg, just drop down. Come as far down as you can. Notice what's different from one side to the other. You might be able to go a little bit deeper from on one side than you do on the other, just being aware of that. And then when you finish your next exhalation completely, go ahead and push yourself back up. Let's lie down on your back again. Take your arms out to your side, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Press your knees close together. And then lift your feet slightly. Now, I want you to, as much as you possibly can, as we do these next couple of moves, try to keep the knees pressed together. They may separate a little bit, but do your best to keep them closed. Okay, so inhale from here. Exhale, drop your knees over to the right, but without touching the floor, turn your head to the left. Inhale up, bring the head back to center. Exhale, drop the knees to the left as you turn your head to the right. So just go back and forth without touching the floor. Nice deep breaths. And the next time you come back from the left, go ahead and stretch your legs straight out in front on the floor. let your feet just drop off to the baby toe sides, arms at your sides with the palms facing up. Let your fingers just relax in their natural curl. And once again, really feel your body's connection to the earth beneath you. Let all of the muscles of your face really soften. So pay attention to the forehead, the temples, your cheeks. Especially notice your jaw. Create a little space between your bottom teeth and your top teeth, and just let your tongue drop to the bottom palate of your mouth. And feel how relaxed the jaw becomes, and you might even notice that by relaxing the jaw, the muscles of your neck and shoulders relax as well. Just visualize the bones in your body just resting in the soft tissue of your muscles. So no holding or tightening or gripping. Can you feel the relaxation in your body, the release of tightness and tension? And then after your next exhalation, go ahead and bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. And again, either roll over onto your side or rock yourself up to seated. So as life starts to speed up and you start to find yourself a little bit more anxious just about things you have to do and things you want to do, really give yourself the opportunity to slow down and use some of these tools to just recognize, because recognition is everything. Once you recognize, then you can actually start to figure out how you can, unwind those knots in your shoulders, your neck, and release the tension in your head as well as your body. All right, so thanks everyone for joining me today, and hope to see you next week for the Friday Freebie. Namaste.